Quality management has an august history. Some of the early steps were in fact taken in healthcare by Florence Nightingale in her work at Scutari. Other colourful examples of early attempts at quality management was the reconstruction of the London sewers by Sir Joseph Bazalgette. When Sir Joseph Bazalgette rebuilt the London sewers, they were done using Portland cement. Portland cement has the useful quality that it's harder when wet than dry, but as you make it, it's an unstable compound. You need to continually test it to ensure that the cement is stable. So Bazalgette set up this complex system for constantly testing batches of cement, checking that it hardened okay and that it performed well underwater. This really was all first generation quality management, and it is summed up in what was called one of the most influential management books of the 20th century, The Principles of Scientific Management by Frank Winslow Taylor. It relies on the belief that work can be organised by a set of rules and standards. And the job of managers is to design the process, to set the rules, to agree the standards, and the job of the workers is to do what they're told, to follow the standards and the rules. First generation quality management, or quality assurance as it is called, is great if you're trying to build a very large number of identical products. So it's like Henry Ford's Model T. You can have it in any colour as long as it's black. Quality assurance, or first generation quality management, really has its place, particularly in highly regulated industries such as healthcare or aviation or nuclear fuels. However, what it does is get work to conform to a particular standard. It doesn't necessarily advance the standard itself. That came in second generation quality management, or what we call quality improvement. And that was led by great innovators such as Deming or Duran. And many of the early experiments were done at the Hawthorne light bulb factory in Cicero, Illinois. Second generation quality management, or quality improvement, is built on the premise that those who deliver work have the most insight into it. Managers often don't have the technical skill or an understanding of the culture that's required to deliver a particular service or create a particular good. But what they can do is empower the workers to be able to understand their patterns of work, to redesign processes, to implement change, and to measure success. Second generation quality management depends on the fact that sometimes this will fail. And so you create the culture where failing is okay as long as it's done with a good heart, and improvements are great. So managers create the environment in which change and improvement can safely happen, and workers regard quality and improving how they work as just part of the job. From the 60s, we started to understand third generation quality management, or breakthrough. Now this depends on the fact that work has various, often unknown and tacit, rules to it. What do I mean by that? So if you take something as marvellous as a flock of birds, what is actually happening is those birds are just following 3 simple rules. They are flying forwards, they are flying as fast as they can, and they are flying as near to each other as they can without touching. If you change one of those simple rules, you get a marked contrast in how the behaviour works out. So if you change the last of those rules to don't fly as near to each other as you can, but as far away from each other as you can, the flocking stops, and what you get is the behaviour of hawks. So let's take something simple that we might want to improve and apply first, second, and third generation quality management to it. Let's take a meeting. So we have a meeting every Monday, and it is predictably overrunning. We don't get time to get through the agenda, people are late, they've turned up without reading the notes from the meeting before, and not much gets done. We all recognise that syndrome. So if we were going to take first generation quality management, quality assurance, what we'd do is we'd plan the meeting. The chairman would sit down, organise the agenda, time different contributions, keep people to task, and the meeting would run for an hour. If we were going to apply second generation quality management, we'd all get together and we'd discuss how the meeting went, what went well, what didn't go well. We might set targets for ourselves. It's going to take 70 minutes this week, 60 minutes next week, 55 the week after. After each meeting, we'd review how things had gone. We would discuss the things that had gone well and the things that were holding us back. We'd change what we were doing and we'd proceed to the next meeting. If we were going to use third generation quality management, we'd change one of the tacit rules of meetings. We'd take away the tables and the chairs. The meeting would last 10 minutes. That, of course, is what happened in the pandemic. 25% of the staff are isolated at home. Money doesn't matter anymore. No report and oversight. So, of course, there was a step change in performance.